New LEGO Power Miners. Deep underground, evil rock monsters threaten the planet. Now it's up to a team of brave power miners to save the world. You can join them and use the Claw Digger to reveal the energy crystals. Next, build the Thunder Driller with his dual-rotating drill to smash through the rock and fight the monsters. You control the battle with the new LEGO Power Miners. Each sent sold separately.
Now, I can't speak for everyone, but as a kid, LEGO was one of my favorite toys, or brands, I suppose. And I was introduced to it at a very similar age to Warhammer, actually. Now, one of my favorite themes was the Power Miners, a theme remembered fondly by many for its memorable builds, a few of which I'm showing on screen at the moment. One very notable aspect is the extremely striking color scheme. Their vehicles bearing lime green and orange, while the miners themselves wear blue and gray. The story was simple. The power miners were sent underground after earthquakes were ravaging the earth. They found the rock monsters, then stopped them. Hello everybody, my name is Spoons Rattling. I am currently inside a box of Legos, and now, let's get to the video. Enough backstory. When the Leagues of Votann were announced, their dwarven, spacesuit miner look got me thinking. And after my original color scheme, I stumbled across this image, showing a handful of classic LEGO schemes on Votann and their vehicles. I think they work quite well in a few, like Mars Missions, Blacktron, and of course Power Miners. So I've decided to paint my armor in not only those colors, but also the Wave 2 silver armor appearance of the Power Miners for the more heavy infantry. This is also my first time using the painting method Slap Chop, a relatively new method I'll go over step by step. I'm doing two models just to show the orange weapons better, and in a more close-stance model. So let's get to it. So to start with Slap Chop, you base the model black, then dry brush on gray quite heavily. I used Oathwood gray. This should cover most of the black, leaving it in only the deepest recesses. Also get this on the guns. After letting that dry, we use a white, or off-white if you prefer, to dry brush a bit lighter this time, but still quite heavy, focusing a lot on the edges. This will accentuate the effects of the contrast paint we're going to use, highlighting, shading, and actually making their armor look quite a good bit grimy and dirty. Fitting. The stickers from Power Miners had a very similar aesthetic. The first thing I did was the cloth, though I find with these models the lines are solid enough you could do it in any order. I used the contrast paint Azurman Blue on all the cloth parts, mainly his pants and sleeves, with some bits on the torso. Also, don't forget the belt loops like I did. We're also going to paint the faceplate this color, but that comes later. Well, I didn't do it in the video. I'd recommend painting the clothes of the medic in the squad with white clothes, in reference to Doc from Power Miners, as he wore white clothes under his overalls, and perhaps a white shoulder pad. I'll leave that one up to you guys to decide, though. Now, while we watch me paint, a bit of lore on this group of the League, as obviously they're not pre-established. I figured they lead heavily into assaulting planets with lots of valuable ore and materials, fitting of the dwarves, or being hired as mercenaries by anyone willing to pay for it to clear out underground infestations of things like gene stealers and chaos cults. In exchange for payment, preferring close quarters combat, fielding lots of ion blasters and berserks to clear out enemies to get the valuable ores and gems they desire. But that's enough fluff. Let's get back to painting that armor. Now, usually in the Power Miners, the lime green is reserved for the vehicles. However, in the LEGO set, Crystal King, we see one of the miners wear a harness with a weapon featuring the lime green. So I decided to make their armor that same green, using the contrast Mantis Warrior green. I'm saying green a lot. With the Slap Chop, this applies extremely well to their armor panels. Make sure to avoid the faceplate on the helmet, as we'll be painting that blue. Any mistakes can be touched up with gray, though. Avoid most of the greebly bits on the back, as we will be painting those gunmetal later. Letting the contrast to dry, a good next step is to paint the faceplate blue and apply the orange to the weapons, that being Magmadroth orange, the contrast paint. Very helpful, as orange is quite hard to paint. While the orange dries, I painted their back details in gunmetal, as well as the pickaxe of the one guy. I also picked out a couple details on the green armor in gunmetal. After leaving that to dry, apply gunmetal to the guns and other bits, like belt buckles and lines on their pants, like the wiring on their calves. Apply the brown to belts and gloves, making the wrist armor green as well. Once that is dry, paint the screen you color you want. I used Incubi Darkness, then painted the buttons on their gauntlets gunmetal again, with the cloth under them being brown. Usually I'd do black, but my pot of black gave up the ghost and hardened up. From there, I applied Ard Coat to the gunmetal bits on their guns and their backpads. and then I applied the basing materials. Let them all to dry, then applied Nuln Oil, which truly seeks out the crevices on the now glossy surface. Great trick for many different units like Space Marines. To finish up, I applied a heavy black wash to the knee and elbow guards, the boots and belts as well. Then, the final bit, I used Steel Legion Drab to highlight the belts to make it stand out quite a bit more, and not look so flat. And last bit is painting the eye slits gunmetal as well. Well, that was pretty great, I think. The contrast paints and slap chop made the painting process very easy and speedy. Honestly, you could get a box of these guys done in an evening or two. And it's a really standout color scheme. I'd recommend looking at that picture from earlier, as a lot of those LEGO color schemes look quite good. Again, my name has been Spoons Rattling. See you all next time.